Here's something nobody on cable news wants to say out loud. As of this morning, June 13th, 2026, the United States military shot down multiple Iranian attack drones near the Strait of Hormuz. And at the exact same moment, our government is telling us a peace deal is basically done. A deal that nobody has actually signed. A deal that Iran's supreme leader hasn't officially confirmed. A deal that Pakistan's prime minister announced before either Washington or Tehran did. So let me ask you a simple question. Does any of this make sense to you? Because it sure doesn't make sense to me. Let's go back to the beginning because context is everything here, and the media keeps skipping it. On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel launched a full-scale war against Iran. This didn't come out of nowhere. It followed years of back-and-forth missile exchanges in 2024, a 12-day war between Iran and Israel in June 2025, where Israel obliterated Iran's nuclear facilities, air defenses, and military command in a single, brutal operation. Iran came out of that conflict weakened, isolated, its allies diminished, its economy already crushed by sanctions. And the Trump administration looked at that weakened Iran and made a calculation: now's the time. Hit them hard, hit them fast, and it'll be over before anyone can object. Trump promised the war wouldn't last more than 6 weeks. That was his word. 6 weeks. We are now 3.5 months in. Here's what that 3.5 months has cost. 13 American service members are dead. 348 more have been wounded. Those aren't statistics, those are people. Sons, daughters, fathers, mothers. People who signed up to serve and were sent into a war that their commander-in-chief swore would be quick and clean. Meanwhile, the Strait of Hormuz, that narrow strip of water between Iran and Oman that roughly 20% of the world's entire oil supply passes through, has been effectively shut down. Do you understand what that means in plain terms? It means oil prices are spiking. Gas prices are going up. Fertilizer prices, which directly affect every single thing you buy at the grocery store, are climbing. The World Bank has already warned that if energy disruptions get worse, global economic growth could collapse to just 1.3% this year. And developing countries, the poorest people on Earth, aren't expected to recover to pre-pandemic income levels until after 2028. All of that. From a war that was supposed to last 6 weeks. And then there's the moment last week that should have been front-page news everywhere. On June 10th, American bombs hit a civilian drinking water reservoir in the Bamani district of Iran. 2 concrete storage tanks, 2,500 cubic meters of clean drinking water, gone. Weapons experts identified the munitions Jibu-39 precision-guided bombs made right here in the United States of America, the kind of weapons we sell to Israel and a handful of Gulf states. The kind of weapons that left a caved-in concrete roof over what used to be a water supply for ordinary Iranian civilians. And here's the part that should make your stomach turn: water facilities are explicitly, unambiguously protected under the Geneva Convention. That's international law. The same international law America has lectured every other country on the planet about for decades, but Trump went on Truth Social and said the war was basically over. So I guess we're just moving on. Except, we're not moving on, because this morning U.S. forces shot down more Iranian drones. Iran launched them toward commercial ships transiting the Strait of Hormuz, and our military took them out. This is happening right now today, June 13th, even as senior administration officials are telling reporters that Iran's supreme leader Mojtaba Khamenei is comfortable with the state of negotiations. Comfortable. The man whose forces are still shooting drones at ships is comfortable. What does that even mean? Here's what we actually know about this supposed deal. Pakistan's prime minister announced that a final, agreed-upon text has been reached. Trump said a signing could happen maybe over the weekend in Europe, with J.D. Vance attending. Iran's foreign ministry said internal deliberations are in their final stages. The Iran's Revolutionary Guard, the guys actually running the military, said Trump's previous statements about the war being over were contradictory and inaccurate. So you've got the Pakistani Prime Minister announcing a deal, Trump claiming victory, Iran's diplomats being cautiously optimistic, and Iran's military still firing drones. Make it make sense. And while all of this is happening, here's what's falling through the cracks. India's foreign minister had to call his American counterpart to formally protest after U.S. strikes accidentally hit 3 merchant ships off the coast of Oman. Mostly Indian crewed vessels. 3 sailors died. These weren't warships. These were commercial ships doing commercial business, caught in the crossfire of an American naval blockade. 3 people died. And the response from Washington was basically, these things happen in wartime. Try telling that to the families in Mumbai or Chennai who got a phone call last week. Let's also talk about the economy, because this war is hitting your wallet whether you realize it or not. 2/3 of Americans were already saying in late 2025 that they were concerned about what tariffs were doing to their finances. Now add a war that's blocked one of the most critical shipping lanes on Earth, spiked energy prices, and spooked global markets. Oil and gas prices are up. Shipping costs are up. And that Iranian state television editing error, the one where they accidentally aired a graphic simulation of a nuclear explosion over a city, reminded the entire world exactly what's at stake if this thing goes sideways in the wrong direction. An editing error. Sure, look, I want to be fair here. Diplomacy is messy. Wars don't end cleanly. And if a real deal gets signed this weekend, if Iran genuinely agrees to dismantle its nuclear enrichment infrastructure and reopen the Strait of Hormuz, then that's a significant outcome. I'll give credit where it's due. But we're not there yet. And the pattern we've seen over 3.5 months, Trump declaring victory, Iran pushing back, the fighting continuing. Then more declarations of victory should make every thinking American deeply skeptical of what they're being told right now. Here's what nobody at the top wants you to focus on. This war was launched without a formal declaration of war from Congress. It was started on a presidential decision, with the American people told it would be brief. 13 people came home in flag-draped coffins. Hundreds more were wounded. A civilian water supply got blown up. Indian sailors died in a shipping blockade. Global energy markets were thrown into chaos. And the two sides still can't agree on whether a peace deal exists. That is not a success. That is not a mission-accomplished moment. That is a mess that was created in our name, with our money, with the lives of our neighbors' kids, and the people responsible for it are too busy crafting their victory narratives to reckon with what actually happened. You deserve the truth, not the truth social version, not the carefully worded State Department briefing. The actual truth, who made the decisions, who died because of them, who got rich off the chaos, and who's going to be held accountable for the parts that went wrong. So don't let them bury this under the next news cycle. Don't let them hand you a peace deal announcement and tell you to be grateful and move on. Ask the hard questions. Demand real answers. Because 13 American families aren't moving on. 348 wounded soldiers aren't moving on. The families of 3 Indian sailors who died in a war they had nothing to do with aren't moving on. And neither should you. If this video opened your eyes to something the mainstream media isn't telling you clearly enough, share it. Leave a comment. Because the only thing more dangerous than a government that starts wars it can't finish is a public that stops paying attention.